to the 9/11 War Room, a weekly roundtable discussion that takes place every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in at 911warroom.com.
Welcome to the 9/11 War Room. My name is Gene.
My name is Sandra. Today's Sunday, February the 8th, and we got episode 221.
All right, first news story. From CBS News, newly released 9/11 memo reportedly shows New York City's concerns about toxic air following attacks. A newly released memo reportedly shows that in the month following the 9/11 attacks, the New York City leaders were preparing for possible lawsuits they thought could arise from claims of toxic air. Let's take a look. Here is the memo that came out very shortly after 9/11 from Michelle Goldstein to then Robert Harding, deputy mayor. Get back to the news story here. That would contradict public messaging at the time, the officials saying the air was safe, which we know it was not. The nonprofit 9/11 Health Watch says it recently obtained the so-called Harding memo addressed to the deputy mayor Robert Harding, reportedly sent in the month following the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The subject line is, quote, legislative alternatives to limit the city's liability relating to 9/11-01. It reads that according to the law department, potential lawsuits could arise from people claiming toxic exposure or that rescue workers were provided with faulty or no equipment. The document does not give any details about the actual air quality or equipment used. CBS News New York reached out to Harding and former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, but have not heard back. Go figure. So yeah, I will put this in the show notes if you guys want to see the memo. This is the most important part that we think, and this is why Raul would like you to hear this. Firehouse.com got a hold of it, and also Fire Rescue One. So basically, fire departments are all over this, and rightly so. It says down here, Council City Speaker Julie Menon on Thursday demanded that, quote, every single file the city has regarding toxins swirling above ground zero following 9/11 be made public following bombshell discovery of an internal city memo that proved the city feared the dangers just weeks after the attacks. Quote, my mother died from a 9/11 related cancer, said Menon, Democrat from Manhattan, who worked and lived just blocks away from the World Trade Center in 2001. After the attacks, the city told us to put wet cloths on our windows. They echoed what Christine, Todd, Whitman, and others said, that the air was safe. And if anybody has not already seen this amazing piece put out by James Corbett, 9/11 Suspects, Christine, Todd, Whitman, it's 12 minutes long. Definitely got to see it. You could just Google Corbett Report, Christine, Todd, Whitman, and it'll come right up. Fantastic. He really puts it to her. So that's all I had on that. But it's really exciting to see that the firefighters are now becoming enraged over things related to 9/11 in a new light. So,
Yes, which is why I thought that it would be important for Raul to know about this, because it's definitely something that they can relate to. It's something they should be enraged about. And it might make them wonder what else, was hidden from them all these years, and what else they should know. Might make your job a little bit easier as you reach out to them.
Next story.
Oh, that's my story.
That's yours.
I will do that.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I haven't. You know what? They're like competing magazines. I should probably submit all this stuff to Firehouse as well, since Fire Engineering is dragging their feet. And Fire Rescue One. Well, I know all the publishers, so I just usually you just like to stay in your own group, and they get really irritated when you submit a topic to the competitors. So since I've always been a fire engineering guy, I just stay with fire engineering. But if they're not responding, I guess maybe it's time to reach out to Fire Rescue, which the owner lives right here in Huntington Beach with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bring him off.
Yeah, I guess I should reach out to him and see if he'll meet with me and stuff.
You think?
Well, if one of them publishes it, then sick lawyer or Paul Cayley on the other guys. All right, thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the lead on that.
And it's great because leading up to the 25th anniversary These are things to see them starting to become more involved, and this is just the timing seems very interesting. That
Yeah, we want them there in New York.
yes. Mm-hmm.
If they can stand with us, that'd be great.
All right. Next news story.
So the next news story is how ICE weaponized 9/11's Scarlet Letter. It's well, it's an article, but they have the transcript here of an interview that was done by a John Uhl, UHL. I think that's how you pronounce it.
And it was from The Intercept.
From The Intercept, yeah. Of a journalist called Spencer Ackerman, or Ackerman, who knows, who has always focused on national security in his writings. And he's basically drawing a big direct line from the Patriot Act to ICE and the things that it has allowed us to develop and expand upon. So he starts here. I'm just going to read this because I have it. Oh, you do have it.
Mhm.
Okay. He starts off with quotes. This is the interview. He starts off with quotes. George W. Bush. We are on the offense against the terrorists on every battlefront and will accept nothing less than complete victory. Donald Trump. These are paid terrorists, okay? These are paid agitators, referring, of course, to those people who demonstrated against the agents. Dick Cheney. Terrorists remain determined and dangerous. Kristi Noem. It was an act of domestic terrorism. J.D. Vance. Same thing, terrorism, and so on. So John Uhl goes to say the label terrorist became a catch-all for a wide range of actors, and dissent against the Bush administration was often disparaged as support for terrorism. The USA Patriot Act codified a reduction in civil liberties in the name of protecting freedom. Goes on to say, this is Ackerman speaking now, that the Patriot Act enabled law enforcement to more seamlessly get third-party records, as they're called, basically customer accounts of records kept by some kind of service provider, financial records, internet records, and so on, without a judge's signature or a finding of probable cause. And he says, and we're seeing just this week, there was a very good piece in the Washington Post laying out the exponential growth in administrative subpoenas being used by DHS in order to get records that would otherwise require a court order to collect. So you can see the danger here that because of this legislation from many years ago, how it's now sickering into our everyday lives in this way. It says back then, even ICE, when it started, it had 2,700 agents. It had 2,700, it had 5,000 by 2008. And the budget was $6 billion just in 2016. It was $10 billion in 2024, just a couple of years ago, and it's now 85. So just to give you a sense of proportions. So it goes on to say there's really firm connection in how we have seen not only the targets of ICE's raids since the Trump administration returned to power be described as terrorists. Now people like Marimar Martinez in Chicago, Rene Good and Alex Preddy in Minnesota, when they're shot, and in the case of Good and Preddy killed by ICE and the broader political structure calls them terrorists. And that's basically where we are. He says, the interviewer says, as you wrote in your book, Trump had learned the foremost lesson of 9/11. The terrorists were whoever you say they were. Yeah, so, they throw back the whole Niemöller poem, I guess it's a German name, Niemöller poem about the first they came for, So it was just, terrorists that were basically, that basically went from those who supposedly did the attacks to eventually incorporate all Muslims, to eventually incorporate, domestic terrorists. And this is where we are. And it just reminds me of why we have to, one of the reasons we fight for 9/11 truth is that this has brought us here, where all of us can be targeted for whatever reason they deem justifiable in the name of terrorism. And it's got to stop.
Can we have a comment on that?
Sure.
Yeah, this is not a political comment, taking sides, in Washington. It's just a fact that the Democrats are proposing, it's on the table, I think there's like another week to, they're withholding funding for Homeland Security, under which ICE falls. And in their bill to fund Homeland Security at all, and therefore ICE at all, they're demanding that these administrative warrants are no longer allowed, that it would have to go back to a court giving a warrant.
Hmm.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Thank you. Mike Cook.
Hey, thank you. Am I there?
Yep.
All right. I think that a lot of that 85 million or billion, whatever it was, could be put to better use for the firefighters for 9/11 Truth and the lawyers for 9/11 Truth and architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Definitely.
just put that forward.
And a range of other causes,
Yeah.
like pretty much anything else.
Next news story from the New York Times. One of the men, Lee Hamilton, congressman who helped lead 9/11 inquiry, dies at 94. Here is the most famous quote that I think Lee Hamilton ever said.
Even Lee Hamilton, the co-chair of the 9/11 Commission itself, admits to us that the process he headed up was seriously flawed.
So there are all kinds of reasons. We thought we were set up to fail. We got started late. We had a very short time frame. Indeed, we had to get it extended. We did not have enough money. They were afraid we were going to hang somebody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were afraid we were going to hang somebody?
Yeah.
Wow, I never heard that part.
He along with Thomas Keane, wrote a book called Without Precedent. And one of the quotes in it says, conspiracy theories are like mushrooms. They grow where there is no light. So there it is. The government did not provide a lot of evidence to us, or at least all of it. Definitely not all of it. Hit a lot of files. And of course, there's a lot of conspiracies that are going to grow from that. And Tucker, I found a whole lot of videos now that are coming out around 9/11 2025. I don't know why I didn't see them before, but all of a sudden they're filling my timeline behind the scenes of making the 9/11 files and saying, release these files. We demand these files. He actually got belligerent and swore.
Want to share them?
I didn't have enough time.
Man, that was so good.
Maybe I'll try to get it real quick.
Clarification question. Is that Tucker Carlson did behind the scenes?
But when he did the 9/11 files that were released, the 5-part episode that were released roughly around 9/11 2025, there were some videos behind the scenes and interviews with other people trying to promote the series, and he said some things that were quite remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we see that? Is that a Tucker Carlson piece?
They're all over my social media, but I will try to get them. I'll get one queued up here before the end.
Oh, and maybe you could put the link in the chat.
Definitely.
I do have a comment about Lee Hamilton.
Okay.
Okay, so Lee Hamilton was basically the most culpable individual on the planet in covering up the truth about the October surprise, which is the title of my book on the theft of the 1980 election. And there are now about 6 books, including a most recent one by Craig Unger, validating the October surprise, and Lee Hamilton's role as the #1 cover-up artist. So when he says we were set up to fail, he's part of the problem. He's not part of the solution.
Self-prophesying, yeah. And he helped investigate Iran-Contra. Yeah, wink. Yeah.
Well, that is Iran-Contra. The October surprise is the truth about the Iran side of Iran.
10-4. Thank you. Thank you, Barb. Sue?
I'm not sure how much this relates in terms of the timing or anything, but Lee Hamilton's wife died in a suspicious way. They had just moved out of their house into a retirement home, and she was taking their dog to the vet and taking their dog out of the side door of the car when her car ran over her. Now, how does a car run over someone standing to the side?
Her own car?
Her own car ran over her.
That's the official story.
Right. Exactly. So I think it's suspicious. I'm not sure of the timing, if it was around the 21 pages or something about the timing of it was suspicious. I don't remember.
Well, we can definitely tell. We can't be sure about that, but what we can know, at least in this group, that Lee Hamilton and Thomas Keene were pressured in some way to not hang someone, quote unquote. So,
Well, it says here that she died in 2012.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the 9/11, as long as it took, it came out before that.
got
Right.
a couple more.
When was his book?
I don't know. I'd have to check.
It's been years. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I do remember the event, and it was tragic, and I'm sorry, but it's very highly suspicious.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm not sure if that relates to anything at all, but it's something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Susan. Let's go to Jetty in Scotland.
Yeah, hopefully I'm working without any echo or anything this time.
Aye.
The hoots, man. But yeah, I was wanting to go back to the air quality thing that you were talking about with the air. There's an interesting report after the 1993 attack.
Oh, we're only getting left audio. That's odd.
Oh,
that's
right.
weird.
But it,
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, is that maybe better now?
There we go.
Right. Sorry,
Thank you.
Stereo Jerry.
Right. Yeah, after the 1993 attack, one of the first things they did was to check the air quality around about the lower levels of the towers, and they deemed it highly, highly unsafe. I've got a PDF somewhere that outlines all the monitoring equipment and everything that they put in, and that was just for the stuff in the basements, and that wasn't really abated. So I think that might be useful for Raoul to look at. I'll look that out and get that to him. But they actually showed much more caution about air quality, outwardly at least, after the 1993 attack. But how could they possibly not have known?
Wow.
Given that attack, how could they possibly not have known? Because it was the EPA that was in there monitoring it after 1993, and they wouldn't let workers in without full hazmat and breathing gear.
Well, I think
the
that
lower levels.
if they knew that in 93 and they, followed procedure in 93, then clearly in 01, they just completely shoved it under the rug very, very intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. The disparity between the two situations in their approach is astounding. But I'll get that to Rule. I'll get that to yourselves as well.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting read.
Definitely,
Thank you.
yeah.
And before I go to Diana, Sue had asked when that book Without Precedent was published. It was 2007. So, let's go to Diana.
I'm just mentioning this because you talked about your social media, and I heard that there's a new social media platform that's Palestinian.
Yes,
It's called. You heard it? Oh, yeah, I just put a link there. So you might want to put all your 9/11 stuff there too. Yeah.
Yeah, we spoke about that last week.
Oh, okay. I wasn't on last week. Sorry.
Okay.
Again,
That's a good reminder.
because Ellison had bought TikTok, everybody from a large amount of people from TikTok are going over to this upscrolled platform. It's available on your mobile devices. They've already starting making posts, so everybody get in early. On that note, it's
go to video
5:20. So if this is the time when World Trade Center Building 7 collapsed, I just use it as an opportunity to say a quick prayer for 9/11 justice. So if you just join me for a quick second. Lord, thank you so much for these hearts and minds. Continue to push for 9/11 truth all these years later. We're all over the planet, and we're all just crying for justice. We are all doing it however we want to do it and how we see that it should best be done. I just thank you so much that we can come together and talk about things and talk about this fight for justice. I pray that you would continue to protect us and guide us and give us the wisdom we need to pursue in this. In your name I pray. Amen. Thanks, everybody. All right, let's back in it. Now I'm losing my tabs. I have way too many tabs open. Okay, news. This is from the Telegraph. Doctor suspended after spreading anti-Semitic 9/11 conspiracy theories. And I'm going to read this because this is just highly offensive. It's behind a paywall. So I printed it out and caught it in the 1 second while you can still see it. An NHS doctor who reposted offensive material peddling anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about the September 11th attacks has been suspended for 2 months. Dr. Najmiya, nice, thanks, Ahmad, a consultant anesthetist. I'm no wordsmith. Craig knows that. Anyway, at Frimley Health, NHS Foundation Trust in Berkshire, was reprimanded after appearing before a medical practitioners tribunal service panel to face accusations of misconduct. She was found unfit to practice and suspended for 2 months after using her ex-social media account to repost 2 seriously offensive comments. I'm just going to skip down. There it is. Dr. Ahmad admitted reposting claims by a former U.S. airline pilot that the terrorist attacks in New York and Washington were an inside job that was covered up by Zionist-controlled media.
Oh, that sounds like Dan Hanley.
The post on X, which she shared December 2023, so this happened 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, stated, quote, the Zionist-owned and controlled mainstream media has suppressed this important story for years. Are you surprised? 9/11 was an inside job. The Zionist-owned and controlled U.S. government was complicit. It goes on. Dr. Ahmad also admitted reposting an AI-created image the next month showing 5 Hasidic Jews, people wearing the Star of David celebrating as a plane above them flies towards the Twin Towers in New York. The image was accompanied by the caption, 5 dancing Zionists on 9/11 attacks. Katie Nowell, counsel for the General Medical Council, said Dr. Ahmad had effectively endorsed the posts. And it goes on to say that she, just get down to it. Last week, it heard that Dr. Ahmad now accepted that the term Zionist could be used to describe Jewish or Israeli people, just redefining things. And that well-known tropes used to promote hostility against Jewish people, including the conspiracy theory that they were responsible for the September 11th attacks and controlled media and government. It also noted how Dr. Ahmad had been emotionally impacted by the war in Gaza. The tribunal found that she breached professional standards to the extent she was unfit to practice medicine, as well as posing a risk to patient safety and public confidence in the profession. It's just...
But I hope she sues under the First Amendment.
Aye. Although this is the Telegraph, it's UK. I believe she's...
Oh, yeah, the UK. Have you sent that to Matt Campbell?
No, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, please do.
Yep, we'll do that. And Pierce Robinson. There's that one.
Oh, you want to mute Ross?
Oh, yeah, Ross.
Oh, no, he's already muted.
Okay. Next news story. Well, I want to wait for Ellie on this one. We're almost there. 5:24. Well, let me start.
Well, he was here.
Yeah.
He's still here.
Yeah, but I don't think he's available to talk about his plan until 5:45. I'm just going to start. So last couple weeks, we've been talking about how I've been putting pressure on Howard Lutnick because of his unique role as Secretary of Commerce, leading the Commerce Department, which oversees NIST. Now, this guy lost 658 staff members from Cantor Fitzgerald, including his brother Gary. And he should be outraged at what happened at 9/11. As a matter of fact, it says it here. I will mourn forever the 658 staff lost on 9/11. Being in the unique position that he oversees NIST, he could tell them, release these building models and data that we have been asking for so many years, and that NIST says they won't release them because it might jeopardize public safety. Well, it's interesting that he popped up in the Epstein files. And this was an email sent from his, I believe it was Leslie Groff is Epstein's secretary, to Matthew Lutnick and Howard Lutnick and a couple other people that are censored there. And it says Matthew and Candace. Oh, wait, where'd it go? It's about meeting up. And Howard replies, "Hi, Jeff. This is Jeffrey Epstein. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon." Let me blow this up so you guys can see this maybe. "We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart's Angula on Monday at some point. Where are you located? What's the exact position for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound?" Now, I said this last week. I'll repeat it. In 2005, he was in an interview where he said that Epstein was a pig, that he would never be in the room with him again. And here it is, 2012, and he's going to have dinner with him. "I have another couple, Michael and Marcy Lehrman, with me on my boat, and each of us has 4 children, 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, and 11, and a 7.
Oh my God.
Has anybody here ever gone to a dinner date with some other family and named how old their kids are? Unless you're going for like a discount at a buffet or something. It just doesn't make any sense, especially being that Epstein had already been convicted of sexual crimes. So it's just very alarming. We also know that Howard Lutnick was next door neighbors to Jeffrey Epstein for 10 years. He bought the mansion off of Epstein. So they were at 9 and 11 East 7th Street, somewhere uptown in New York. Just a coincidence that's 9 and 11, but yeah. So that's that one. So I continue to dig. And if you haven't dug and gone into the Epstein files, you just go to justice.gov/Epstein and you can search. And I just want to show you a couple other ones I found, and hopefully by then Ellie will be available for what he wanted to mention. But there's a great website. If you don't like going to justice.gov/Epstein, a guy made a website called jmail.world, and he basically put all of the emails into a Gmail format that you can search. So just to show you an example here, if I go to, let's say, jmail.world, and it would be like you were in Jeffrey Epstein's mailbox. And I want to search for Shadow Commission. Whoop, if I could spell right. Shadow Commission. There we go. And I get a bunch. I get some from G-Max, Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, well, that's interesting. What are they talking about the Shadow Commission? Let's click on it. Any interest on being in the Shadow Commission on 9/11? The membership list is secret. Ghislaine Maxwell writes back 5 hours. Oh, wait. Yeah. 5 hours later at 5 o'clock in the morning. Thanks for the invite. Unfortunately, I cannot be in the on the Shadow Commission. First screaming question. Why is somebody asking? Well, we got to start. Well, let me just ask the question. Why is somebody asking Ghislaine Maxwell to be on the 9/11 commission at all?
And what is a shadow commission? What is its intent?
Yeah.
The first thing's going to jump out at everyone, and I got this wrong when I mentioned it on Boston 9/11 Truth on Tuesday or Thursday. Ed Epstein. I thought that was Jeffrey Epstein's brother. No, there is no relation to Jeffrey Epstein. Ed Epstein, when I searched up for another one of the emails that was sent to them, he had sent a URL, edwardjepstein.com/pieces, in relation to the Shadow Commission on 9/11. So I looked in. Who is this Edward Epstein? Edward J. Epstein. With deep sadness, the family of Edward J. Epstein announces his passing January 9th, 2024 at the age of 88. Brilliant, energetic, and intellectually passionate through his final days, he died peacefully at home after a brief struggle with COVID. Ed was an award-winning investigative journalist, renowned for his groundbreaking work covering topics ranging from the Kennedy assassination to the diamond industry to the business of Hollywood. So it's really interesting that this guy is an investigative journalist, no relation to Jeffrey Epstein, so into investigating hard topics, is asking Maxwell about, starting to consider what happened on 9/11. This is what he looked back in the early years. There he is, Ed Epstein. And he actually wrote an article about Epstein called My Tea with Jeffrey Epstein. A tale of mysterious airline upgrades, bounce checks, and a fembot named Sophia. So if you want to check that out, I'm sure you could check it out from like remove paywall or whatnot. What he looked like in his later years. So then I dug back into that URL. I'm like, well, this is interesting. Shadow Commission on 9/11. Got to see what his website looks like. So when I did that, forbidden. You have no permission to access this resource. So for all the web sleuths, what do we do when you get to that? Anybody?
That means the password is password prohibited. I don't think you can get through.
Right. So you just start poking and prodding, and you got a Wayback Machine. And what do you know? Wayback
Oh.
Machine got some stuff.
Yeah.
So I spent way too many hours. I think I was up till 2 or 3 in the morning. This guy's mind was like spaghetti. He asked great questions, and there are so many links that trail off into different avenues, and you have to backtrack to go to a link, and it's more avenues, and it's just, I finally got frustrated. There's just so much, and I was trying to download it all, and it just became too much. That I had to take a break, but some really interesting things. The Shadow Commission on 9/11, 7 priority issues that he had here. Was there a military or chain of command failure on September 11th? 2, was there a security failure on the parts of the airlines and or airports September 11th? 3, was there a failure by the CIA to pursue intelligence from foreign sources? 4, was there a failure by the FBI to collect, analyze, or disseminate intelligence about the 9/11 conspiracy? 5, was there a risk assessment failure by the president? 6, have American law enforcement agencies established yet the order of battle of the conspiracy that directed, finances, documented, and organized the hijackers that carried out the aerial attacks of September 11th? And 7, was there a connection between the aerial attack and the anthrax probes of September 2001? Each of those blossoms into so many subsets of pages. I found a page somewhere down in there where he had the question of the week, and some of these were really good. He did an amazing job on Osama bin Laden, how he aged through the years, which I imagine that was probably the background information for James Corbett's research on that. But just a lot of really, the anthrax probe, Iran's full ticket, Saddam's acts. He did a great job asking some really good questions. And I did not have time to go through all of these. Another page that I had found. Nope. I think that was it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I just try to click on this again. September 11th.
Why would he reach out to just Lane about joining him? I don't get it.
The question that begs the question. Here was a section called Walk the Cat Backwards. He never finished level 4, but level 1 was narrative of the state. And he goes into it, and then there's links that blow up into things like I said, level 2. Which again, here you go. There's so many different pages underneath of that. There's the Pentagon, Craig. You might have to dig into that one. Shanksville, Jeddah ciphers, the Hamburg conspirators, Dubai money laundry, about the anthrax attacks, and then
Barbara might like that one.
And then level 3, the vanishings, the case officer, morphing Osama bin Laden. This one I just got to click on it real quick. He did a great job. If it'll load, because sometimes I click on this and Wayback Machine says that you're just clicking too fast. So maybe I'll check back on that one. Yes.
Can you clarify something?
Sure.
Okay, with all of this research on the Wayback Machine, what is your understanding of what this Shadow 9/11 Commission was? Is that something that this guy made up?
Yeah, I believe, in my opinion, he was an investigative journalist, and he did cover, like it said here, the Kennedy assassination, diamond industry, business in Hollywood. I think he was sincerely researching 9/11 on his own. Why he was going to the Ghislaine Maxwell to be part of that, I don't know. Maybe
I never heard of him either.
Right.
Never heard about this.
I just get the sense, I don't know this for a fact, but that he was just doing his duty as an investigative journalist.
Well, I understand, but the words, the Shadow 9/11 Commission, is that something that he created, those words? Or what's your understanding what it was?
I think, that was just his coin term that he made.
I see.
Yep. Right. That's really all I have to say about that. You guys can check it out on your own. I think I have one more tidbit from the Epstein files, and then I'll go to Ellie if he's available. Let me try this page one more time about bin Laden. This was, come on. No, I'll try it after we go to Ellie. But one last tidbit I had. Where'd it go? Here it is. For those in the 9/11 Truth Movement, you remember back in 2018, the Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Inquiry filed 60 exhibits for the controlled demolition of 1, 2, and 7. They did that in 2 installments, one on April 10th and July 30th. At that time, Jeffrey Berman was the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. Wondering if he was sketchy or not. Weren't so sure, but they gave him all the evidence, and he said, we will comply with the provisions of 18 U.S.C. 3332, which says they will give the information to a grand jury. There's no confirmation that ever happened. The Lawyers Committee then further took it to the Supreme Court, where they said they don't have standing. But I'm getting beside the point that I wanted to make here. The date that this happened.
Can I correct that? The Supreme Court didn't say we don't have standing. They simply didn't take the case, which meant that the New York appeals court's ruling that we didn't have standing stood.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So I was interested just in the date and roughly 2018. Jeffrey Berman's the U.S. Attorney. This is another file brought up in the Epstein files. This is a report or a press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York about the death of defendant Jeffrey Epstein. This is going wild viral on social media right now because there's one major problem with it. Jeffrey Epstein didn't die until August 10th, 2019. And this press
allegedly.
Yeah, I know all these pictures are coming up from over in Israel right now. So yeah, we'll say allegedly. But according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the press release was done on August 9th, a day before he even passed away, allegedly. So everyone's making a big stink about this right now, that they had this already planned to go out before he had even officially allegedly died.
But Berman was involved in...
And Berman was involved in it, yes.
Yeah.
And Berman was fired by Trump through Bill Barr.
Yes, and if everybody knows about Bill Barr, his father got him Jeffrey Epstein the job at, I forgot the name of the school. There's just a lot of ties there. It's like all these people are just 1 degree of separation from each other. Just really interesting. There's another one I don't know if anybody was aware of. Sarah Ferguson. I should have known this. Sarah Ferguson was married to Prince Andrew, for nobody that did. If anybody didn't know that, I was one.
He's still living with him.
Oh. Anyways, she was given the 101st floor of the North Tower for her charity from Howard Lutnick, because Howard Lutnick, being with Cantor Fitzgerald, had a certain number of floors there in the North Tower, and the topmost one, 101st floor, he gave it to her, Sarah Ferguson, Fergie, for her charity. And there's this famous redheaded doll, I guess, that came down in the collapse, and she's all over the place with this thing saying, this was a symbol of my organization. But it's really interesting that Sarah Ferguson, Howard Lutnick, they're close. Howard Lutnick close to Jeffrey Epstein close to Prince Andrew. And it's just all this, you can't prove anything with it, but it's just, why are all these people rubbing elbows?
The dots are all connecting. You just reminded me, are you going to cover about Silverstein's kids?
No, but that was that doesn't even have relation.
No, I know. I just
a new fact that she's talking about is found out that Epstein's both his kids.
No, Silverstein.
Both of Silverstein's kids were also late for work that day. So they were spared from the collapses. That's just
always hear about Silverstein not being there as he normally was, but his kids, same thing.
Anyway, that's not Epstein.
No.
Can I interject something real quick, Gene? I just got a text from Mike Zarzano, said he's having trouble connecting. I don't know if there's anything that you can advise him.
Didn't we have that issue last week? You sent like the direct link from your...
Yeah, I don't know why he's having a problem.
Was it Mike who had the trouble last week?
I think it was. I don't know why you
Some-
keep having problems because I don't have a ban list or anything that.
I didn't have any problem.
Yeah.
You don't even need a passport or anything.
I will send him an email right now.
Diana had her
Okay.
hand raised. Maybe
And
she can.
yeah,
I have
Great.
I-
Thanks.
I've told people this before, but if you're really having problems online, you need to change Wi-Fi's. Okay, they come at you through the Wi-Fi and they keep you from getting on. But if you go to a library or wherever McDonald's, it doesn't matter. It's easier.
Yeah, maybe you can also change browsers. I don't know.
Diana?
So the question I have is, why were these files released suddenly? What was the trigger? 'Cause I'm not really sure what happened.
I think we've been asking for him forever. Massey made a filing for demanding that they be released, and Trump finally, begrudgingly, I think, signed it, and now they finally are releasing some of them.
Yeah.
Because we got to do the same thing about the 9/11 information and whatever the trigger was for this, you know.
Yeah, we need to keep pressure on Massey to say, yeah, create one of these for 9/11 files too. Yes.
I mean, it could easily be that, you know, as the dominoes start falling with this, that it's going to start affecting other questions that people have. I mean, the reason that the pressure was so huge on the Epstein thing was because, you know, people are just invested in it. They care about what happened to these kids and the exploitation and the trafficking and the abuse and the
Well,
murder.
because Trump didn't want it until the Democrats.
On top of that, right? Of
Yes,
course.
that's a big part of it. You know, the Democrats were full on because the fact that they all hate Trump so much, it actually was good in this
Yeah.
case. You know?
Yeah, no question about it. But and that's you know, unfortunately with 9/11, it goes back 25 years almost, and you know, it doesn't viscerally make people react as much as this whole Epstein thing, and so you won't get like millions of people, you know, demanding the release of this file. But you know, if we get a few 100,000, it would be good, and if we could get behind Tucker's demand for a new investigation, I wish he would promote it every once in a while, more often at least, to remind people to sign it. There is strength in numbers. If he can move that needle, we all need to support him. So right now, he's one of our, I don't want to say one of our best bets, but he's definitely a strong contender for having an impact on this.
Yep, let's
Well,
go to
It's a huge contribution to have Tucker. I mean,
let's go to Sue.
Aren't the Epstein files being released under the Luna Task Force?
No, this is a separate act by Massey.
That's the initiative by Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, why does it have to be separate? Did Luna
because it is. Because you've been in government and you understand these are separate things.
It's called the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It was passed, when was it passed? Andrew Ohana, November 18th, 2025. Let me share the screen real quick.
I'm just wondering, did it have to be passed because the Luna Task Force, who had the mandate to do this, was not successful or didn't want to?
I think it's completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Well, they're obviously related. They're both about Epstein.
So it must have passed the Senate sometime later, and it finally just, I don't know enough about that.
But they're politically unrelated in the sense that it came from two completely different parts of the government.
Right. No, that's still the same
You
part.
you are right, Barbara, that things should progress, but they don't because there's ways they can keep it from progressing.
Have you seen that they're saying that he was a Russian agent now?
Yeah.
So that is like crazy. So I think if it comes out that he was working for Israel, then 9/11 would be connected. So
There we go. After passing the House, the bill would be required 60 votes to the U.S. Senate. That night, the Senate unanimously agreed to pass the bill. The bill arrived to Senate on November 19th, was formally transmitted to the Senate desks that morning. Trump stated November 17th, 2025, that he would sign the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law when it reached his desk. The act reached the president on November 19th. It reached his desk, and I guess he signed it that day.
By the way, the Times of Israel today online has an article. If you want, I'll send it to you when this is over. That Epstein had nothing to do with the Mossad or vice versa. Of course, they're going to claim that.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Is that a comedy newspaper?
No, it's not.
Maybe we can get Dr. Ahmed to say, yeah, it was the Zionist media that control of that. Anyway, let's go to Ellie. He had some other points he wanted to make with the Epstein files. Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going? So, but yeah, I was also doing some research alongside Gene into these files, and specifically to 9/11. There are, Gene called out some very interesting tidbits there. There's other tidbits in the files that show links between Epstein and other people involved in the cover-up. So, one of them is with Bob Kerrey. I just put a screenshot in the chat showing Bob Kerrey. Bob Kerrey is one of them, former senator and governor, and also member of 9/11 Commission. In 2013 and 2014, he had many emails between himself, his staff, and Jeffrey Epstein, inviting him to come and have dinner at Epstein's house, and some of them in conjunction with people like the former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, as you see in this email here.
Yes.
But there's several dozen, maybe a dozen or so emails between Bob Kerrey's group and Epstein about getting together for dinner, or about the follow-up of a dinner or other type of activity with Epstein. So I think that's interesting. Again, nothing smoking gun there. I did want to point out that one of the reasons why Kerry is of significance is because of an encounter that We Are Change had with him in 2009. I actually posted that in on X yesterday or the day before. But if for those who are not familiar with it, one of our colleagues over at We Are Change approached him after he spoke at some event and asked him about the 9/11 Commission and their failures. And this is what
9/11 because I know yours.
Well, okay. Well, I'll let you run it yourself, and you can hear what he says.
Here we go. 55 seconds. This is a guy that just met with Epstein, or at one point did. Here we go.
Do you support a criminal investigation into 9/11? Because I know yours was an exposition. It was not a criminal investigation.
I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, I do support a permanent commission to examine not just that, but lots of other things in this area. So.
But if it's a permanent cover-up, then it's. I mean, if it's an act of war and it's hiding things, which everyone on your commission knew that the Pentagon was changing their stories, lying to you, right. And it's a cover-up of an act of war, and under Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution, it's treason. So unless we get to the very bottom of it, then we're still talking a treasonous exposition.
This is a longer conversation. I'm not sure you ever get to the bottom of it.
We have to, or we can't save our country, sir.
I don't think. Well, if that's the condition upon which we're going to be saving our country, because the problem it's a 30-year-old conspiracy.
No, I'm talking about 9/11.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you are. You mean this?
Yeah. Anyway, I got it.
Okay, be well.
Okay, thanks.
I forgot that gentleman's name. He also approached Joe Biden about the nanothermite paper, active thermitic materials paper.
There was a recent scientific paper that came out, I don't know if you know about it, but it basically is conclusive that the World Trade Center was blown up by very high advanced explosives. And it should have been the continuing to be the very highest news story right now. So my question to you is, when are you and President Obama going to ask the Department of Justice to start a criminal investigation in terms of who produced this advanced nanothermite and who put it in the World Trade Center? And if you all are not going to, you check it out.
See the report.
And if you all are not going to do that, is it possible for we, the American people, to trust you with our economy if we can't trust you with restoring the rule of law?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
What do you mean yes?
You can trust.
Are you gonna do an investigation?
Everybody.
Sir? Are you part of the treasonous cover-up of 9/11? Or are you gonna help clear this up? National Reconnaissance Office was running a drill of a plane crashing into their building, and you know they're staffed by DOD and CIA.
I know the guy that went into his broker in San Diego and said, "Cash me out. It's going down tomorrow."
Really?
Yeah.
That tells us something.
What?
That tells us something.
Well, his brother worked in the White House.
A great activist. I forget his name. But yeah.
Jeremy Roth or something.
There it is. Roth Fusel.
Fischel.
Yeah.
I have a comment on that. I mean, it was hard to hear, but Bob Kerrey has said this in a much clearer interview clip, not this one, but he said it here too, right towards the end. Bob Kerrey said that 9/11 was a conspiracy 30 years in the making.
Essentially.
No, he said it literally.
Okay, well, no, right. He's in this one. He says it's a 30-year-old conspiracy. I mean, I don't know if he used different words in another speech, but that's what it sounds like he's saying.
Yep.
And so I wish there had been some follow-up on this. Not necessarily that Weird Change should have continued to confront him, but he's still alive, and it would be helpful if someone did try and follow up on that. He probably is pretty quiet right now that his name is showing up in the Epstein files, but I just did want to call that out given the nature of the events that are happening right now. So there's that. And then we had talked earlier, of course, Gene, about how Mr. Rudy Giuliani had also showed up in the Epstein files.
Yes.
I don't have that one handy, but you could probably find it there, where apparently he and his staff were trying to make plans to meet Jeffrey Epstein also at Epstein's house in 2010. It's not clear whether they actually happened or not. They may have had to take a rain check, but there was some mutual interest in getting together. And of course, we all know that Giuliani wasn't just a useful idiot, that he actually did enable the destruction of evidence from ground zero immediately after 9/11. So again, somebody that should be, questioned a lot further.
Who are you talking about there?
Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, Giuliani. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, Giuliani.
September 23rd was the last one. I mean, they had for a week, it was the last week of September, or the last 2 weeks of September 2010. Those two were trying to get together, and it just goes back and forth about my office can't get a good date. I've already called Maureen. She was in a meeting with Mr. Giuliani, said he will get called back. He'd be happy to meet with Jeff when he's in town next Tuesday or Thursday. And it just went back and forth and back and forth. I'm trying to find the one from September 23rd where it's basically said, we're just not going to be able to meet. But who knows if they met later on. But it's just really interesting that Rudy Giuliani is trying to meet with Epstein often. Yeah.
And that was in 2011, you said?
2010.
2010.
Hmm.
So there's that. And then this last one that I wanted to mention is not from the Epstein files, but is also definitely worth investigating further. And I just posted that link in the chat. It's something that we've known about for a while, but since this Epstein story has gone viral this week, I wanted to re-raise it. And that is this claim from Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend that was reported on by a British newspaper. I don't know if you have the link there now, Gene. British newspaper Radar Online.
Oh, yes.
The headline is Prince Andrew's ex, Lady Victoria Hervey, believes Jeffrey Epstein had a role in 9/11. And what she says here, she said, this was 2022. She said, regarding 9/11, which I'll touch more on tomorrow, I have a story that connects it to Epstein. As in, he knew it was going to happen, and so did his close circle. They even bought plane tickets as souvenirs and never got on the planes. This is a whole new level of sick. So she said this on Instagram in 2022, and later deleted her post. She also asked other questions about 9/11 in a similar post about how 9/11 was able to be accomplished. So it does sound like she's was openly questioning 9/11 in addition to implicating her own associates in poor knowledge. So again, that doesn't have a lot of context, but it's worth mentioning given what's happening right now.
I could add to that. She is on Instagram, so I private messaged her back in January of 24. saying, please, Lady Victoria, speak out more on what you shared a couple years ago about not only did Epstein know about the September 11th attacks on the Twin Towers before they happened, but he even allegedly bought plane tickets as souvenirs. And I pleaded and nothing. Please, ma'am, please. Oh, well.
Sorry. And then so I think that's as much research I've done that's come up with anything of significance from the files. But the last thing I wanted to say about these files is that, oh yeah, sorry. So one of the other things I wanted to say is related to just how important this document dump is, and not necessarily that we're going to get.
Nope, you cut out.
Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yep, now you're
Hello?
back.
You're back
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily saying, oh, it's important because we're going to get justice, this file release, but it's important because it's really broken people's perception of what's actually how the world actually works. And especially if you do follow social media, especially X/Twitter, a lot of people are seeing the horrific emails and the horrific claims of victims that are pointing fingers at these high-level politicians, celebrities, world leaders, and people are coming to terms with the fact that maybe those conspiracy theorists were right. I mean, even someone as distasteful, in my opinion, as Bill Maher really recently said on his own show, the QAnon people were right after all. So this is one of those moments where we actually have hard information that ties the people in power to doing the most obscene things imaginable, which is a really direct parallel to 9/11, in that when these things we claim to the past, people dismiss them as crazy crackpot theories, and now that document dumps from the government are basically proving them to be right, it's causing a massive shift in the Overton window. So I think this is a time for us to really not lean hard into sharing this Epstein evidence with people we know, because it's something that's unimpeachable. It's not something we just thought up ourselves. It's something that's the government is coming out with, and it's nonpartisan because both Democrats and Republicans are implicated, and it's something that once they recognize, oh wait, so these people are doing these horrible things, well, maybe these 9/11 theories aren't so crazy after all. And in fact, one thing I just wanted to call out was a few days after this latest document dump, I posted, I posted on Richard's X account. I posted the following statements. Let me find out what I said. I'll go back to what I said. We said, oh, after reading the Epstein files, does anyone think our government wasn't corrupt enough to kill 3,000 Americans on 9/11? So even though Richard's account is essentially deranked and deboosted, he got almost 500,000 views, 40,000 likes, and 500 comments. And I was reading through the comments, like 99.5% of the comments are positive. So so there's been like a shift where people are seeing these and realizing, oh wait, so all those people saying all this crazy stuff, and maybe they're right. And I think that's what this disclosure is doing, and makes it a right time for us to actually move forward and say, yeah, our government is capable of horrible things, and we need to look at 9/11 more closely. And sharing that with people, it'll help change the narrative for them.
Yep. Thank you. I also want to point out one other thing I forgot to mention. If some of these files, certain things are redacted and they forget to redact them in other times. Like here's from Leslie to Matthew Lutnick, Howard Lutnick, and CC'd a bunch of people that they blocked out. But in another email, they forget to block out that it's Candace Austin and Allison Lutnick, Howard Lutnick's wife. So if you download one file, keep searching, because in some other instances, they may not have redacted the same things. So
yeah. Oh, well, to add to that, this is kind of like a global scavenger hunt, because there's you have 3 million files. There's no way for any single person to review all of them and find anything that's of value, especially when a lot of things are in code words, or so if you do have time and want to do some digging for yourself, you could probably find stuff that we haven't found that could expose a lot of things, including 9/11 related activities. So if you do have time, I would encourage you to do that, because literally every single day, more and more every single day, more revelations are going viral. Not because somebody just dropped a new file, but because it's taken so long to dig through this in the last week that it's an ongoing research operation that I think everyone can contribute to.
And in some
Go ahead.
and in some cases, they may have been careful about the words that they used. And so even if you do a search for, I don't know, pizza or whatever you're looking for, it might not actually come up because they might, misspell it on purpose by leaving out the vowels or something. So yeah, you can search up to a certain point, but I'm sure underneath all that, some files some emails are pretty well hidden.
And files are being released. I made every Tuesday I make a Taco Tuesday meme. So I thought for funny, I'll do the Epstein files and look up taco. Lo and behold, there were 108 results. After I realized that they are removing files, I thought, let me try taco again. 107 results. So they removed one of the documents that had the word taco in it. So I guess Trump, 199 files had been removed in the course of one day. And again, back to Ellie's encouragement to look through the files. When Ian Carroll was on Tucker Carlson again talking about the Pizzagate thing, he mentioned that all last week he's been working on this application called the Web.io. You go to theweb.io. It's a website. He created this in honor of Gary Webb, if everybody remembers Gary Webb, shot twice in the face, allegedly by suicide. But
Gary Webb was allegedly shot twice in the back of the head,
right in the cheek.
from
I have the
a
picture.
distance that did not leave powder burn.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is the application will be able to use a localized AI. So you're not getting the influence from an external source or the cloud of AI. You can have all your files locally and have this AI search those files and just give you information on those files. So it won't be subjective to any other influence of, how AI was programmed. So it's really,
What's the URL again?
it's the web2bs.io, spelled THEWEBB.io. Keep your eye on that because the download's not available yet, but if you're down at the bottom of the page, you can be notified on an early release. And really interested in this because I know that the web page for the download is /download, and I've been keeping an eye on it. And he's got the markers in place for people to download it via Windows, Mac, and Linux. But when you click on it, it's still just a placeholder. He doesn't have anything available yet to download it. So keep an eye because that'll make searching files so much easier. Because you can just ask it, hey, where in the files does it talk about this? And it'll spit them all out to you.
One more thing I forgot to mention from the files. So Jeffrey Epstein was apparently also a virtual student of 9/11 Commission Director Philip Zelikow. So he took an online class that was taught by Zelikow, again, sometime in the, maybe a decade or so ago. So not as clear cut of a connection, but also something to note there, especially since we know Zelikow's background, as Richard has mentioned many times, is on the creation and maintenance of public myth. And this was essentially a modern history course that Epstein was taking online from Zelikow. So very interesting.
All right. Thank you. I got a couple hands up and I got to get back to news. So let's go to Mikey Perazzo. How you feeling, Mike? He's getting there. He's like, oh, crap, he called on me. I'm back to the computer. We'll come back to Mike. Go to Susie, if you're there. Wait, there's Mike. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry, I'm feeling better, but I have my video off because my face doesn't look very good right now. I had a cyst, mass under my cheek, so it's doing all sorts of oozing and gross stuff right now.
Oh, thanks for
So, it's been a while since I've been here, but I wanted to touch up on that issue of the that customer. Did you share that with the group about that customer that I was at his house and he ends up knowing Howard Lutnick? You shared that? Okay. So
Well, for those that didn't hear, let me do a quick
okay.
recap. So
Yeah.
Mikey was going out doing service work on small motor repair, and now it's all the snow. He'd been doing repairs to snow blowers. Decided he was going to go up, I think, Maryland, and just a place he wasn't normally going to go to. He gets there. The son was too busy at a house party, so the dad was available. He talks to the dad. He's just shooting the crap with the dad because sometimes you can make good connections. Says, "Hey, what do you do?" And he goes, "I'm in the financial market, basically at World Trade Center." And he says, "Well, I think somehow Cantor Fitzgerald came up, or
He said he worked for Marsh McLennan. I said, "Oh, they were in the World Trade Center," and I'm 31, so he was surprised that I knew about that. And then I said, he was like, "Oh, yeah, so you know about that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, and then there was another company called Cantor Fitzgerald that was up there too, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm friends with the guy that owns that or whatever, Howard." I'm like, "Yeah, Howard Lutnick." He's like, "Yeah, I see him like every other day. You know, we talk a lot." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I kind of like, interestingly enough, the customer that I was talking to, he said to me, he's like, "Yeah, I don't believe the planes brought those buildings down." And I thought that was ultra strange because, like, this guy, I don't know. I thought it was strange because you would think he would just go with the, you know,
official
the
narrative.
narrative or whatever, but he was saying that he doesn't agree with it. And basically, I shared that video with him that you told me to watch or send to him, and he said that he was actually watching it. He didn't tell me if he finished it, but interestingly enough, he texted me about a week ago and said that something else went on wrong with the snowblower. I'm like, "Oh, perfect. I get to go see him again." So now I can ask him some more questions, you know? So, but what I thought interesting about, I actually watched I watched that Ian Carroll thing with Tucker the other night about the Epstein files, and Howard Lutnick was brought up in there. And I wanted to just, because the guy that I was talking to, my customer, his name is William, no, something Williams. I
Yeah,
can't
okay.
remember his
All
first
good.
name, but
We'll leave it at that.
he didn't, he seemed like a really nice guy, and he doesn't seem like a guy that would be all about like pedophilia and stuff. So the fact that Howard Lutnick was associated with Epstein, I don't, I think this guy would be good. I think he'd be willing to come out, honestly, even if against his own friend, honestly.
Interesting. You forgot one funny part in that story is he was saying I work for Marsh McLennan. There was another financial services company, Cantor, and he let it hang out there, and you finished it for him, Cantor Fitzgerald. He was like, "Oh yes, the Cantor Fitzgerald."
Yeah, yeah. I said to him, I'm like, "Don't you think that Howard would have some type of uh like conscience and want to like, you know, come out and tell the truth, considering that his brother and like 600 other employees died up in there?" And he was like, "You bring up a really good point." That's what he said to me.
Yeah, well,
He didn't say no or fuck that. He just said, "You bring up a really good point." So,
right. But I mean, the answer is not being blackmailed or threatened, obviously.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, Mike. I love it. Thank you. Anything else, Mike?
No, I just I think if I go see him again, I'll mention the thing about Howard being in the Epstein files and what his thoughts are on that, because I mean, I definitely wouldn't want any of my friends to be in there because they wouldn't be my friends anymore.
Just
So,
remember 2005 and 2012. In 2005, he said, "I don't want anything to do with that pig Epstein." But then in 2012, he's in the Epstein files going to have dinner with them.
Yeah, take the screenshots so you can show him.
I'll send it to you, Mike.
okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye.
Let's go to Susie, and hope you feel better, brother.
Thanks.
Hey there, everyone. So I apologize because I dialed in a little late, but Dean, did you say that you actually sent correspondence to Howard Lutnick?
Yeah, not directly.
No, oh, okay. So I'm just curious, out of all the people that were lost in 9/11 that worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, we have so many of those families. And I know that they're tied up with the lawsuits with Saudi and whatnot, but I'm really curious as to if any of these family members had even thought to being Howard being the Secretary of Commerce right now in this position currently, thought of inquiring with him about releasing, the records for World Trade Center 7. And on top of that, last year, during the anniversary, when Ron Johnson was involved, was there any stipulation made or questions asked of Ron Johnson about Howard Lutnick?
So let me answer the first one. Patty Casaza was on the TAP call. We did ask her directly that question, and she said that she's had several meetings with Howard Lutnick, and that none of the family members found him to be genuine or of any help to any great degree. I think
but I meant through like FOIA requests or something, some legal pathway.
That's interesting. I'd have to
because I did Google that, whether or not you can FOIA the Secretary of Commerce, and they said absolutely you could. So
right now it's a national security risk not to release the files. That's where it might jeopardize public safety, because they think that if we let them know how the building came down exactly, other people might be able to use that to bring down buildings with just fire. And oddly enough, the UAF report comes out showing that it couldn't be fire, and nobody got hurt from that report being released. So it's just absurd. But yeah.
Well, I mean, and the question is also how many of the victims' family members are really on board 9/11 truth? Do they think that there is more to the story? How many of them have signed NDA, agreements where they took money and are not allowed to either ask questions, talk about it, or engage in certain legal avenues? So there's a lot of handicaps there right off the bat.
do we know of any of those? Are we aware of anyone that signed an NDA or has come forward?
Patty Casaza said she did take the money, so I'm not sure to what degree she's limited to talk about certain things. I know that Beverly Eckert did not, and she's not alive anymore. Yeah, we'd have to dig into that more. Good thought.
Yeah, I would just like to start a campaign.
Yeah, I like it. I'll think about that one. Write it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go back to Ellie.
Yeah, I was just doing some research on this whole thing with Howard Lutnick. I mean, Cantor Fitzgerald did actually receive multiple payouts from 9/11, or as a result of 9/11. So they did have an insurance company, that provided life insurance for Cantor employees, and apparently the life insurance company treated the death as accidental, and therefore that doubled the insurance claim settlement. And then in 2013, Cantor Fitzgerald settled with American Airlines and its insurance for $135 million, and that payout went directly to the company and their owners, including CEO Howard Lutnick, who received between 15 or 25 million from that settlement. So there's definitely a lot of money on the line in terms of what remained of Cantor Fitzgerald.
The family didn't get anything, but just the company did. That's terrible.
Well, no, I mean, I'm still doing some research. I just started looking into this, but I mean, the families did get some money, but whatever they got came through Cantor Fitzgerald. It didn't seem to go directly to the families as far as the payouts. But I have to do more research. What's clear is that the company did get millions of dollars in either the settlements or from life insurance payouts.
Thank you, Ellie. All right, let's get back to the news. That's it for Epstein today. Ooh, that was a lot.
Around 50 minutes later.
Yeah. Let me see. I lost my place on the news here. Let's see. No, got through that. Oh, to wrap up the Epstein files, I made this funny video, and it's only 37 seconds. Here we go.
You told me when we last talked, this is 8 months ago when we did an interview at the FBI in Quantico, that you were convinced that Epstein killed himself in jail. Today, 8 months after that, are you still convinced?
Yes.
100%?
Yes, sir.
Our study has identified thermal expansion as a new phenomenon that can cause the collapse of a structure. For the first time, we have shown that fire can induce a progressive collapse.
There we go. That's all.
You should show the bumbling version of it.
You might think that their nationality has them in common. No, they're just plain out liars. Kash Patel can just lie with a straight face, and that's just disturbing. News. Last thing, it's really not news item. I just, Ellie, I think your hand is up from last time. Let me lower that. Anthony Lawson. I recently became interested in his videos and found out that he had passed away, and just wanted to do a small tribute to him. A couple of videos that I wanted to share because he had an amazing history. His name is Anthony Charles Ashton Lawson. Most people remember him from the video "This is an Orange." He is fantastic. I just want a little reading here. Anthony Charles Ashton Lawson, violinist and leader of the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. In early life, he sought work for the field of radio, making a name for himself as one of the best radio editors in Australia, later moving to the UK, where he progressed into camera work, eventually becoming an award-winning commercial director and producer, having shot advertisements across Europe and the US and Asia. Anthony Lawson was an international prize-winning commercial director, cameraman, ad agency creative director, and voice-over talent. He used to be known for shooting humorous commercials, but as he learned more about the world and why things are the way they are, he found less to laugh about and instead found his passion about sharing the truth. Having always valued the truth and having always taken a stand against injustice throughout his life, traits his son says were passed down to him from his mother. He spent his final years using his vast experience to shed light on the events of 9/11 and the terrible world events that have since followed. It says, quote, this is a quote from him. After recovering from the shock of seeing the Twin Towers collapse on subsequent showings, I developed a strong feeling that what I was seeing and what I was being told were quite different things, Anthony said. It says here, Anthony Lawson passed away on the 8th of January, 2015 in Phuket, Thailand, at the age of 79 due to colon cancer. He's survived by 2 sons and daughters. His son put out a video just at the beginning on his YouTube channel saying, this is the last video from my father. He's no longer with us. And I just wanted to show a couple videos that he put out, including the orange one. It's 2 minutes. I have another 2-minute one, and we'll go from there. So here we go.
My name is Ashton.
Oops, no.
Anthony Lawson was my father.
This isn't the orange one, but I'll just play the very beginning of this because this is the son talking about his dad retiring.
I speak to you now bearing news of his passing on the 8th of January this year due to colon cancer, so this will be the last video on his channel. So much has changed since the time of my dad's first videos. I'd like to say the change has been good, and some of it has been.
I'll put these all in the show notes. You could watch them later. I just didn't, in the essence of time, I'm going to try to keep it succinct. Here is his orange video. If anybody has not seen this, this is a classic in 9/11 legend.
This is an orange. If you were told it was something else, you wouldn't believe it, would you? This is called visual identification based on experience. This building is about to be destroyed in what is called a controlled demolition. Buildings do not do this spontaneously. Here is another example of a controlled demolition. The initial charges are spaced about 1 second apart, and you can see that each section begins falling separately. Successful demolitions require that all structural support columns collapse at virtually the same time. If they don't, or if something else goes wrong, the result will look something like this. This is World Trade Center 7 just before it collapsed on September the 11th, 2001. It had not been hit by an aircraft. It had been damaged by falling debris and minor fires, but by 5:20 p.m. the fires were still not a threat. Although the building was 47 stories high, it doesn't fall sideways, nor collapse unevenly. For this to have happened, all of the building's vertical supports must have given way at almost exactly the same time. Yet the Federal Emergency Management Agency reported that the collapse was due primarily to fire. But what does it look like to you? As at July 2007, there is no final report on the collapse of World Trade Center 7, but the National Institute of Standards and Technology still rules out a controlled demolition. So the question is, do you believe what you can see with your own eyes, or do you believe what you are told?
Very simple. And I love that he gives respect to the victims, because I'm sure he heard it a lot. This is for the victims of 9/11, Afghanistan and Iraq, and to those who may be next. Anthony Lawson. He also wasn't afraid to get into areas where, I'll just say it, and Bob, respectfully, I'm just going to play it. He does not agree with the no planes in Manhattan, and he made this 2-minute video. Simon Scheck, I guess, came after him pretty hard, so he put this in. It's called the Nose In, Nose Out. It's only 2 minutes. I want to play this one as well. Here we go.
Quote, "Whoever you are, Mr. Lawson, one thing is clear. You have failed to deliver to the people who financed you to denigrate September clues. Your utter arrogance oozes and stinks of falsity. You are a jerk, all in all, evidently at the mercy of your own insignificance as a human being. This kind of attack is known as an ad hominem, an argument against the man rather than about the issue. No one has paid me a penny to do what I do with regard to the 9/11 truth movement. So let's look at one of Mr. Scheck's major falsehoods regarding what he claims to be video fakery. He calls this a micro-precision match, but watch the sequence again carefully. Neither image is fully opaque at the same time as the other. Here the nose-out image is being faded in while the nose-in image fades out. And voila, the nose-out image is a perfect match with itself. This is an analogy for what that, and much else in September Clues, is about. The best way to check for a match with these kinds of images is to reverse one and look for what should be a mirror match. Clearly, this is not. And these enlarged images of Simon Scheck's own choice of frames, with no smoothing or anti-aliasing, tell the full story. Those who believed that there was a match, and that this was a graphic overlay gone wrong, have been taken for a ride. Disinformation of this kind, which deliberately sets out to deceive, is an insult to the memories of the people who died on that terrible day, and to those who want to see the true perpetrators of those dreadful crimes brought to justice.
And one last little clip. It's a 10-minute video. I'm not going to play the 10-minute. I'm not going to do that to you guys. But it was a part in talking about Building 7, the booms. It's the Bykovsky video that's shown. And I find it interesting because he heard the same exact boom that I heard. Now that I can't. Oh, no, something else. I didn't get to that yet. I do one more, 3 minutes long. And this is about the allegation that the planes could not have traveled that fast. And it's 3 minutes. I'm not going to put you the whole 10 minutes, but here we go. 3 minutes.
There are many myths surrounding the attacks of September the 11th, 2001. Most of them stem from the official 9/11 report and government-funded agencies. But some have been developed by individuals or groups, many of whose websites are cross-linked to each other. It is impossible to know the true agendas of some of these apparent 9/11 truth sites, so their content should be viewed with caution. The impossible speed myth is one of the most damaging, calling into question the speed of the aircraft prior to its impact with the South Tower. Its most virulent form is a video by an entity called Pump It Out, but it is being endorsed by such sites as Scholars for 9/11 Truth, whose homepage carries the motto, exposing falsehoods and revealing truths. Then, only a few lines from the top, new evidence, Flight 175 impossible speed. Next, an unequivocal statement from the editor, proof of video fakery. And the link is to the Pump It Out video, which opens like this. Yet the impossible speed myth is one of the biggest falsehoods imaginable. That a group calling themselves scholars didn't do some checking is quite incredible. While Googling impossible speed may be easier, the Federal Aviation Administration's information is rather more accurate. A personal search may take some time, but brings its own reward. However, a direct link to the relevant document is included in the information about this video. If you open the document, what you'll be looking at is the Type Certificate Data Sheet A1NM for the Boeing 767 series of aircraft. And if you search for speed, you'll find this, airspeed limits, the first line of which is the relevant one. Translating the jargon, VD means vertical dive or maximum dive speed, and KCAS stands for knots calibrated.
I know it's getting a little deep. I only got one more minute. Hang with me. It's about the airspeed limits of what the Boeing 767 can do. Here we go.
Airspeed. Multiplying the speed in knots by 1.151 gives the speed in miles per hour, which means that the Boeing 767 is permitted to fly and fly safely at 483 miles per hour at altitudes up to about 18,000 feet. This would, of course, include the altitude of 700 feet, but Pump It Out's expert in impossible speed begs to differ.
The plane will begin to shake itself apart at about 220 miles per hour at that altitude.
And just prior to that outrageous bit of misinformation about the aircraft, Mr. Keith had this to say about the engines.
The air, they can't suck the air in, and the things start acting as a brake. Plane maxes out the specs on the plane. The power plant will max out at 700 feet altitude at 330 miles per hour.
But the turbojet-powered Phantom and the Buccaneer with twin-turbo fan engines flying at sea level prove that these engine types do not choke themselves at low altitudes. The FAA sets airspeed limits for a variety of reasons. Many.
And that's all I really wanted to share on that one. I did have just the clip about the Building 7 boom. I thought I had it in here. Yeah, in the end, it was going to end up, I can't find it. I guess I didn't have it set up. The last thing, if you follow through some of his links in his videos, again, this guy's passed away. Fantastic guy. It's about the Murray Street engine. I was a proponent that was the engine. I'm like, that is definitely the engine. All these people saying it's not the engine, I didn't agree. After digging into this more, I'm in agreement. That wasn't the engine from a 767. If you look at this, this is the plane that was there. What you'll see is this ring right here with these little curved, looks like macaroni coming off of it. Let's keep it simple for people. There we go. That's the part in question. Well, take note of the engine type, this cooling duct assembly. That's a cooling duct assembly that goes on a JT9D7 series. I'm going to get a little deep on you real quick. It'll only be a couple minutes. It won't be too painful. This is the cooling duct and assembly used on the JT9D7R4D, which was what was used on the 767. So you can see this has macaroni. This doesn't have macaroni. This is the, if you can hang with me, this is where it's at. The name of the component is an HPT stage cooling duct assembly. There was a history behind this assembly as I began to read more. This component was part of the early JT9D7. So both of these are called JT9D series engine parts. One just has the 7, and the other one has 7R4D. The 7R4D means it's a 7 revision 4D. So in the original 7 series, they had the macaroni piece on there. They found out later through testing with NASA in the development of the new technology to improve in engine performance and reliability, this improvement was made specifically to this section of the engine. It's called the tangential onboard injection, TOBI, or R for radial. It was the newest improvement to reduce nozzle temperatures by over 2%, blah, 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 blah. So this piece is what's on the 767. This piece is what was on a 747. Well, they went out and they found a 747, and lo and behold, you could see the piece that matches the engine that was on Murray Street. Now it leads 747. So like, whoa, wait a second. Then what hit the guy says here? We have 2 data points indicating that the Murray Street engine is a Pratt & Whitney JT9D7 series, the early engine from the 747. And we can have the diffuser good, blah, 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 blah. So all the data so far indicates that the Murray Street engine is not from a 767. It would have been on Flight 175. And the Murray Street engine certainly did not have this plane part. Unless I'm missing something, and I don't think I am, though I'm not an engine expert, how did a 7 Series 747 engine wind up on Murray Street? Unless I'm missing something, that engine did not come from Flight 175. If then, what struck the South Tower, and where is Flight 175? So again, you can go down rabbit holes all day, and I could stand to be corrected. I'll admit that.
If that's a 7...
Go ahead.
If that's a 747 plane part, I mean, it was definitely not a 747 that flew into those buildings. That's the biggest plane you could have had. Would have been easily recognizable by the bump on the, front portion of the plane. So if that is absolutely a 747 plane part, then it had to have been planted. It's just not a 747 that flew into the.
Or it could have been a highly a modified plane. So that's also an option.
Yeah.
Yep.
But could I add that one of the things about this engine at Church and Murray that has always baffled me, and I might have mentioned it before, is the fact that anything that heavy, traveling at that speed, going through the building and then falling from over 1,000 feet, would make a huge crater in the ground when it landed. And so my question is, why is there not a crater? Why is it just sitting on a sidewalk? That makes me very suspicious of its authenticity.
Well,
I'm wondering
at the
if
very
that
least. Oh, sorry, Richard, go ahead.
I'm wondering if that cooling duct could also have been from a 737, which some people suggest was the planes that hit both towers.
Yeah, and that's a smaller plane. That would also make sense.
All right. Good questions. I got 3 hands up. Let's go to Mike Cook.
Hey.
Hey.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Yeah. Operation Northwoods talked about changing planes out. Right. And I think that's what happened. It was Andrews, I think, Air Force Base. They landed and took off.
Yep.
The planes that hit were not the planes that they were supposed to be. The alleged planes and passengers, we don't really know what happened.
Right.
All right. I have scary suspicions about what happened to them, but they built special planes, and they probably had what do you call it? Military planes come in to a designated area, right? That's the damage to the buildings. Homing devices, that's what they call them.
Yep.
They call
Control. Yep.
Yeah.
And it would have had to have been what I was talking about earlier with Anthony Lawson. He later on talks about how the only way that they could be within that percentage of when the plane would be unsafe to fly was that something guided it at that speed, knowing that that's all the higher it goes. So.
And there's no way they could be flying at that speed, at that altitude, without modifications.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Let's go to Diana.
Yeah, I just want to quickly mention it's 6:30.
I know I opened up a can of worms there.
You did, and you're not done with your news because we still wanted to cover, the local things that have happened.
Yeah.
So, and normally we'd be starting to wrap up at this time. So
I know everyone's
I'll
gonna have an
let
opinion.
you.
Yeah.
I'll let you
All right, I'll talk real quick. I just want to say, have we sent anything to the family saying how much we appreciate his work or something like that, or make a post about him? That would be nice.
It said back in 2015 they were hurting for money and they really could use donations. So I will reach out to his son, Anthony Lawson's son, and see if they still need help. But yeah,
Well, donations. I mean, some kind of memorial.
yeah.
11 War Room appreciates his work. He was a great man. Something like that. I don't know.
I will try to reach out and connect with them. I'll let you guys know next week. Thank you, Diana. Good point. Thank you. Ross, what do you got?
Yeah, okay. So a KC-46 is a military aircraft. It's a refueling aircraft that was developed exactly at the time of 9/11. It is a 767, basically, that is using 747 engines, 2 engines, 747, the Pratt & Whitney, because they're more powerful. And that's because, and then the whole plane is reinforced structurally, which is those pods on the bottom that you see, because it has to be stronger when it's landing and taking off because of the fuel load. So those engines were 747 engines, all right, on a KC-46 Boeing military refueling aircraft. Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Thank you. Jetty.
Yeah, my question on the engine, if it's not the right engine that's there. I mean, they used Pratt & Whitney's and Rolls-Royce, didn't they? They could on that plane. But what would they possibly have to gain by planting an engine in the street on 9/11? What's the gain if you're conspiring to pull off 9/11?
The same as the passports.
No, but why plant the engine on the street? Why not just let it go with the rubble? Let it go with all of the stuff that's coming down with the building. Why would you go to the bother of wheeling out an engine in the middle of
That's an interesting
attack
question.
in lower Manhattan? Why would you what would you gain by doing that? Absolutely nothing. The only thing you would gain is a chance to get caught. It's ridiculous. Sorry, and I mean that's to your point, Craig.
These guys are not that smart, I think.
They're not that stupid. If they can pull off 9/11, they're not going to take on. They will take chances. They will get caught out, but they're not going to take chances that there's not a gain for making. So what's the gain? There isn't one.
I'd like to comment on that. If real quickly, I would just say that just because we don't know what the gain for them is doesn't mean there isn't one. I've heard many people say, like, well, wouldn't it just be easier to crash a real plane into the Pentagon? Wouldn't that just be the easiest thing? But that's making an assumption that the easiest thing is the thing that they would do, and I don't think we should make that assumption. I agree that I don't understand why they would plant an engine there, but I think my point needs to be contended with, that a thing that heavy falling that far is not just going to be gently sitting on the sidewalk. It's going to make a big hole, and if there's no big hole, we should ask why, I would say.
I think in my opinion, it's just my opinion, everybody. I appreciate what Jerry said there, and I think, you're risking something by doing that. I would think that perhaps it was a different type of plane that struck the building, and that's what came down. I've even heard allegations that the front of the wings and the nose of the wing could be lined with depleted uranium to allow it to be able to penetrate the building easier. Again, these are just all speculation. We don't know. The bigger question with the plane, no plane thing is that whether it was a plane or no plane, the building fell down, and the plane and asymmetrical fire is not going to cause that. So
I agree there. On the getting through the building, it hit a lot of glass. It's not going to stop.
Yeah,
it's going to hit the glass, then it's going to widen out. The debris is going to widen out, and it's going to sever the columns. John Skilling understood that.
Yeah,
when he built the buildings.
Yep.
And fair point, Craig.
I mean, they were very sloppy with some things. They took chances. Why? Because they knew they could get away with it. So I kind of agree with Craig on that. Like, we don't know the reason, but that doesn't mean there wasn't a reason. So you know,
wheeling an engine out in the middle of Manhattan when the world's eyes are on Manhattan and it's the wrong engine. What do they gain from doing that? They don't gain anything.
Well,
they can just say the engine stayed in the. Where's the engine that you see? I've got a lot of questions on that.
Yeah, I know. I regret bringing that up at the end of the show. Thank you for that. If we can, because I'm going to try to wrap up in 20 minutes, and that's like we should go around the room now, but I know I want to respect the hands up. If you guys could keep it short. Mikey Perazzo, go ahead. He's finding a mic. There you go. Yep.
I have always thought that the no plane theory is a crock of shit, but like our friend from Ireland or wherever he's from, I'm sorry, is saying Scotland.
Scotland.
Sorry. I don't know. But like he was saying, like what would they gain? I mean, the only thing is the engine laying there on the ground with no crater, like Craig said. It kind of gives some traction to that theory a little bit, to be honest with you. I still don't believe it, but I mean, you could see why I would come up with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you can see why people have questions.
Oh yeah,
period.
we all have
I mean,
questions.
it's all understandable.
And the big problem is the government didn't answer the questions sufficiently. That's why we have so many questions. That's just terrible.
They did gain the narrative.
Mm-hmm. They created an environment for conspiracy. Bob.
Yeah, am I audible here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just wanted to mention that there are things that are a matter of speculation, and then there are things you can nail down with the laws of physics. And not to go on too long with this, back to the regularly scheduled program here, okay?
I dig it. Thank you so much. I respect that very much. And I still have to look through all your stuff that you sent a while back. But thank you, Bob. Chuck.
Hey, I'm just going to chime in on the Jeffrey Epstein business and Howard Lutnick, and if it's true that Jeffrey Epstein was somehow in the know on 9/11, so now the whole question about what was 9/11 becomes more than did an airplane hit it or not. So that's, and again, I'm going to challenge the truth movement to get out of the weeds, as it were, and see the forest for the trees, because the issue is treason. And that's what's happened here. A big lie has been told, a magic trick was played on us, and we were all told to believe what you saw. Airplanes, and then the buildings came down and they collapsed, blah, blah, blah. So if this Epstein thing is true, and what Epstein is about is more than running children into the plutocrats for their sick, sex games or whatever they play. What Meryl Nass shared from her Substack recently was an article by another researcher who's been digging through the latest cache of documents, and that is that Jeffrey functioned for the plutocrats at the highest level.
Damn Russians.
It shows that he was basically setting up the digital structure for our emerging technocracy. And I'll close with this. They are frankly saying we're making a technocracy in Gaza. We're going to rebuild Gaza in that glorious vision that the Donald has, and it's going to be a technocracy. Do you think that's going to be a democracy for the Palestinian people there? No. A technocracy is where you have a technate. You have a ruling class of wise nerds that are expert with algorithms and will basically set the terms of existence. So I think we need to pick up our game and get out of just what exactly happened and just start calling things as they are, and which is we the people are being played and led down a some real funky path here. I'm done. Thanks
Thank
for
you. The amount of power that they have to tell us, to blatantly lie to our faces, and there's nothing we can do about it, is just obscene. They admit that the CIA had something to do with assassination of our president, and nobody's held accountable for it. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
And the Epstein files are out, and there's still no talk of any kind of investigation or whatever. So
that's power.
That is crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Mike Zarzano, and then we'll go around the room.
Why? No.
Oh, no?
Well, we still have.
Okay, we got other stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Mike Zarzano.
Okay. Yeah, I think Craig asked a good question, but where that engine is sitting is not possibly where it landed. That's where it stopped.
Correct.
And that engine is not a 57 or a 67. That's a 737. And that comes from John Lear. So the real question we need to ask is, what proof does the government show us that there are 3 other engines? There were 2 planes. Each plane has 2 engines. So it's a total of 4. Where are the other 3? Does anybody know?
That or the black boxes. Yeah, right.
Well, didn't they find one wedged between 2?
No, that was landing gear.
Oh, there's landing gear. Okay.
Yeah. And that landing gear had a rope connected to it.
Yeah.
So
that also looks planted.
Yeah. So it's clearly looking like there is no evidence for, what the government says hit the 2 towers. A 737 engine laying on the ground somewhere doesn't indicate it came from a plane that hit the building. It just says that it was there. How it got there is what needs to be answered. And if it was found that day, then they should have the serial number, and it should match the plane that hit.
Yep.
And 99% of the time, it doesn't match. The same goes for Shanksville and the Pentagon. We're being lied to, and the movement has ignored these issues and focused on other things. That's a problem.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. I wouldn't say.
No, what were you going to say, Gene?
I don't think the movement as a whole is ignoring it. If you include the greater 9/11 Truth movement, some aspect of the 9/11 Truth movement is definitely questioning that. I agree.
Yeah, I never said the whole movement did, but it seems like the establishment 9/11 Truth movement has definitely ignored Shanksville, Pentagon, and proving the evidence.
I don't know who the established 9/11 Truth movement would be.
Well, I think that needs to be thought about.
All right. If you want, okay. In my opinion, I don't want to focus on.
I mean, we're being told now that at the Pentagon, a jet got sliced and diced by Kevlar into millions of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And with all due respect to Barbara, this is an absurd theory. It is impossible for Kevlar fencing to slice up a jetliner. This is absurd.
Barbara did not make that claim, Mike, and neither did Jerry, and neither did I. So that's a false
I've listened to it, Richard. I've listened to it twice. She most certainly did.
No, she was trying to put the pieces together that Jerry had put out there, and she was making a speculation. So you can't put that on her.
Well, I've listened to it twice. I know what I heard, and I stand by my comment.
I stand by mine.
Okay, we'll have to verify this. Let's prove and see who's right.
And she can speak for herself.
Somebody is wrong.
She's here. She can speak for herself.
Well, the video is recorded.
She can speak for herself and correct anything she might have missaid.
Yeah, no, Richard, I think she's gone. She's been gone for a while. I haven't seen her name.
We'll ask. We'll follow through with Barbara on that. Basically, I just wanted to, this was supposed to be a tribute to Anthony Lawson. And I realized I was getting into the weeds of things where, the 9/11 Truth movement as a whole do not agree on things. One thing we do agree on is that we were lied to. And there's a lot of questions, obviously, on all of these topics we bring up. The fact that we can ask so many questions means that the government didn't do their job. And we, with sincere hearts, I think we're all trying to just interpret the evidence that we see. And I just hope that we can continue to do it with civility. I agree. Mike Zarzano loves the threshing floor idea where we just argue these things out. I kind of like to focus on the essentials where we can all agree, but we're all fighting.
No, Gene.
All right, no, please,
Gene,
just wrap this up, please.
we debate, not argue. Argue's a mistake. We debate.
The art of argument is just semantics. Okay, I'll call it debate if that pleases you.
That's it's more appropriate.
But I do want to say that what just happened with this was really positive, because after sharing this video, we all kind of weighed in, regardless of where we stand. We agreed that some of these things don't add up, and that there are questions that are legitimate questions, even if they're not necessarily asked by a group that we align with or whatever, right? So I like what happened there. And if we could do this every single time, that would be just great.
Yep.
You know,
let's continue to argue, debate, discuss, whatever word you want to use. Thank you. All right, we had other news. We had Boston 9/11 Truth coming up.
No, I did the last week. So Boston had a call on Thursday.
Yes.
TAP had a call on Tuesday. And Craig wanted to quickly mention his Substack.
Yeah. So Barbara was on last Thursday for Boston 9/11 Truth. I think that video is up. I think I saw that, Sue. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sue, but Kevin Barrett is lined up for February 19th. March 5th, Sandra Hicks. April 2nd, Andrew Craig. No, not yet confirmed. Is he confirmed?
No, he's not going to join us.
Oh, no Andrew Craig. All right.
Yeah.
So we got Kevin Barrett and Sandra Hicks coming up February 19th.
And that's all we got.
10-4. And then Craig, you had something you wanted to mention.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the new group that I announced on this call, I think 2 weeks ago, we finally got our Substack page up, which I was having sort of technical problems in doing that, but finally figured them out, or they anyway. So exposing 911.substack.com is the Substack page. We'll hopefully have a real website at some point, but that's a little bit more involved. But yes, so the first post that I have up there, if you were on the call 2 weeks ago, you'll probably find it to be covering the same ground. It's just sort of an introduction of what the group is and who's in it. I hope in a couple of days we have a mission statement and a list of 13 principles that haven't been posted anywhere yet, so I'll probably make that the next post in a day or two, and it's a little bit more detailed about sort of the priorities, and then so if people would we'd appreciate it's a brand new startup page, so if people want to subscribe for free and everything, that would be awesome. And at some point, I hope maybe with the third post, there's an article that's been kind of publicized a little bit in the last couple of weeks about the Pentagon by John Judge, which I find to be a completely bogus disinformation piece. And I think that needs to be addressed, because I would advocate to anybody that maybe I can throw the link in the chat. People should have a look at it, because it's all based on unnamed sources. And John Judge, the big one is, John Judge has a friend who was a flight attendant, and she went inside the Pentagon and saw, carpets and drapes and seats, and, she just saw the whole plane in there apparently, but we don't know her name. So to me, that is not a credible piece of evidence to be, basing one's conclusions on. So anyway, just throw that in there to just so that people will know there's going to be something more interesting than just, an introduction to the group. We'll get into the exciting stuff soon enough.
Yeah, a website's
So
really
thanks.
going to help.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Craig, can you put the link to the Substack in the chat, please?
I will indeed. I will indeed.
Thank you.
And TAP just had, I thought the Patty Casaza was the marathon for TAP calls, but Adam Eisenberg, I think I gave up at almost midnight.
No, it's past. I give up at midnight. You
Yeah, I'm
still
not
at it.
past. But Adam Eisenberg, it got a little contentious. Adam called out everybody that he disagrees with, but he put out what he liked. He thought was strong evidence. Give him a listen if you want. I think it's on Tap's Rumble channel. Check that out.
Make sure you set aside 5 hours.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have anybody upcoming, Mike or Chuck.
Or if you want to say anything about
Yeah. I'll just say that John O'Malley is a TAP board member and he's DC 9/11 Truth. He's going to be our guest. And he's really smart and geopolitical thinker. And we're going to have a wide-ranging discussion about essentially the false narratives that arguably go back to our colonial era about, why did we have an independence war? There's a whole debate. We're not going to go deep into that, but I'm basically, he'll be our guest and we'll cover the big, probably 1947 onward. So come to Tap Talk and get enlightened from John O'Malley.
Tuesday, 8 p.m. Thank you. TruthActionProject.org.
Hey, and peace out, everyone. I'm signing off now. I'll be around.
All right. I let this one get away from me at 6:55. Is there any other news we needed?
I think that's
I think we're good. So everybody gets 2 seconds. No, just kidding. Try to keep it succinct. If you have any other information you want to let us know, this will be the time to do it. So, Mike Cook, anything for the group?
Sandra,
Yeah.
your hair was a mess.
All right, jeez.
Mike.
She got on saying my hair's a mess. He was just playing.
Yeah.
Love you, Mike. Get out and ski. Right on. Thank you, brother. Craig Close, anything for the group, sir?
No, I don't think so. I think you covered the thing I wanted to say, and yeah.
All right. Thank you.
There's 2 Craigs.
There was Craig nodded no, and Craig.
Oh, sorry. Was that meant for me, or was that?
No, but
you were up next.
Because I might think of something in the next few seconds. So you just want to let me know if it's me or not.
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
Brian Good, anything for the group? Nope. Jetty, anything for the group, sir?
Yeah, your beard's unkempt, Gene.
My what?
Your beard is unkempt.
It is, I know. Thank you. It's getting a little unruly.
He's shaving it.
Sandra's hair's great, though.
No, thank you. He's shaving it by Valentine's Day.
Cheers, thank you.
Keep your kilt ironed. I don't know. Anyway, have a good night, brother. Jack, anything for the group?
Yes. Sorry, I kept pushing the button. It just didn't respond. Yes, I just want to repeat that I really think we need to reach out and we need to speak down to them like we're a teacher. I just noticed how my friends are affected listening to the TV, and the TV speaks down to them and tells them, like it's their 4th grade teacher, how the world is. And we need to do that. And then when people say, well, you proved this or that, then we can come up with the details. But we need to focus more on how to reach out to people, and we need to speak down to them.
Yep. Thanks, Jack. And that's what, when I get my turn, I'm going to try to queue up the little 30-second rant part of Tucker saying exactly that. So thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. We need to own this more. Lou, you got your hand up? Take this time.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Solving 9/11, Christopher Bolin's book makes it clear that the Mossad was involved in the 9/11 attacks. So we need my train of thought. As an action, we need to support Code Pink, which does a great job.
Look at
Code Pink, and also the movement that it's called what?
Code Pink doesn't want to.
It's called boycott, divest, and sanction. And I think that and none of us here are watching the Super Bowl, but I've put out some emails saying, do not watch the Super Bowl. Do not watch the Winter Olympics. Do not watch the World Cup, because these are the people that are involved in maintaining the big lies. Thank you for listening to me.
No, do watch the Winter Olympics. I have a couple of friends in there, Quinn and Nick. I'm very sorry about what happened to Lindsay. All right. She was airlifted off the fucking course.
Okay. Thank you, Lou. I'm gonna stream it illegally, so I won't be paying. Anyway, let's see who's next. JB, anything for the group?
I'm good, thank you.
Bob Runyon, anything for the group? Nope. Diana?
Yeah, two things. Jelks unfortunately passed away. We asked him to pray, and I made a. He believed in aliens, so I had a AI movie maker that I know make a video of what happened to him after he left the Earth, and I just put it in the chat. He did a really good job, and it looks so much like him that every time I watch it, I start crying.
Hold on a sec. Did you say Jelks passed away?
Yeah, Jelks passed away. Yeah.
Because of the fall?
Because of the fall, then they operated on him, and he had 3 strokes during the time he operated on him. Apparently, he couldn't recuperate. Yeah, it was really sad.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
His wife is, I mean, I'm not even gonna ask, but
right.
He was very kind in opening his door for people to come stay with him for the DC event in 2025. Just, yeah.
Was a great person, really great person.
oh my God.
Sorry,
Yeah, he was just like a sunshine. I mean, he was always.
Yeah, always laughing.
Could you repeat the name? I'm sorry, I was.
Yelp Cabinets. You didn't meet him. He lived in DC, and he wasn't like an active part of our group, but he was a 9/11 truther, and he did help sometimes, and he had volunteered to. I was a good friend with him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
I put a little video that I made of what I had made of what happened to him in the afterlife, because he believed in aliens. It's really it's pretty good if you want to watch it. And the other thing I want to say is maybe we should have a party where anybody who runs cannot be on the Epstein list. A new political party, no Epstein list of connections, something like that.
Epstein list party. Yeah. Sorry for your loss, and thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Can I ask when he passed away? How long's it been?
It's been about a week, something like that.
Wow. So about a month after his
Richard, I sent you a notice of it. I think you got it, right?
Yes, thank you so much. That was tragic to hear, Diana. Sorry I didn't respond.
That's okay. All right.
Since I got you, Richard, anything for the group, sir?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you so much. Except one thing. Could we give Mike Zarzano a few minutes next week to show those 3 or 4 clips of the video of the alleged plane hitting the Pentagon and what those flames are doing in each of those? That would be a great analysis to demonstrate, was there a plane wash or not?
Okay. Are you up? If
you're up. And was there any thick black smoke from the jet fuel? That's another interesting observation you will see.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mike, since I got you?
Where are the engines? Shanksville, Pentagon, Towers. Where are the engines? We only have 2. One at the Pentagon was photographed and one at the tower.
Good question. And the black boxes.
I was just going to say that.
And where's the exit hole in the C-ring that would have been made by the 2 engines if they'd really hit?
Yeah.
Good point.
We got a lot of questions on missing things. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it's taken 24 years to start asking these questions.
Yep. I want my 100 videos around the Pentagon within 1 mile. Anyways, Magnus, anything for the group?
Wow, I want to say great work and thank you for all the news and keep up the great work and have a great week. I'm gonna show you next week a video of History Channel where they are talking about Building 7 and showing me the trusses, but they are showing me the trusses from Tower 1 when they are talking about Tower 7. And then they are saying the failure was between the 5th and 7th floor, and that is a lie. So I'm gonna show you videos next week, and yeah, thank you for all the work. See you next time.
Thanks, Magnus. Look forward to it. Thank you, sir. Have a good evening. Alfred, if you're there, anything for the group?
No, not really. I agree that the commercial world with the Super Bowl is a huge distraction. But having said that, go Pats.
Okay. All right, Al.
Well, that is your backyard team.
That
So.
is, yep. Susie, anything for the group, ma'am?
Yes, I want to thank you for today. It was a pretty stimulating session we had today. And I'm just wondering if there's anyone out there that knows, other than through Bob McIlvain, how we can possibly contact some of the family members.
Well, I remember, Patty Casaza was saying that there were so many groups that had formed over the years. I don't know if all of them are still active. And a lot of them are involved in the legal lawsuits also. So I don't know, there's Families for 9/11 Peace or something like that. I mean, there are many groups.
Peaceful Tomorrows,
Peaceful
Valerie
Tomorrows, yeah.
Lukanowska. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, if anyone has any information or leading information or contact information, I would certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we tried actually to build a list of, this was for the 24th anniversary last year, of victims' family members who would stand with us, supporting us at the conference. And we had some names. I mean, it wasn't for them to come or anything. It was just if we were going to do something with the family members, that if they were willing to be there, and it didn't really play out. So we did start a list, but we can definitely add to it.
I mean, that's just thinking out loud, just an activist thing to do, because every year down at Ground Zero, I don't think you want to stand there in a black t-shirt saying inside job, but they usually have a yellow ribbon on or a blue ribbon on, and they walk by. Some of them are very friendly to us with the black shirts saying that on it. But if somebody came in a button-down shirt or in a dress or whatever, nice, and handed those folks something as they walk into the memorial, to just, please reach out for whatever reason.
Maybe as they walk out.
Walk out. Yeah, that'd probably be better.
Well, yeah, I think it would be an opportune time now as we're preparing for that to maybe gear up. So,
idea. Yep. Writing it down. Thank you.
And if you have anything, Jean, if you could share it with me on a PM, or I can give you my email.
Okay.
Yeah, in New York a couple of years ago, this must have been 2023, one of them tore Gene to shreds, like laced into him, and
that wasn't a family member. That was just a really upset guy.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
He was screaming. He had veins popping out his neck, spit and flying. And all I could say, I got down on my knee in front of him and says, "We're just here." I forget exactly what I said. Just in a sign of submission. Like, we're not here to be offensive to you. We're just trying to help. We just want answers. And yeah, he couldn't hear it, but yeah.
And then he disappeared from view, and I saw the cops, and I'm like, oh my God, they arrested him.
Oh, anyway, we got to put ourselves out there. All right. Thank you, Susie. I love the war room's supposed to be about 9/11 strategy and activism as well as news. And if we can think of grassroots efforts to try to do this, back in the day of me just putting business cards and stickers on signs and flyers, just stick them to a door, just putting it in the public's mind, and not just in the digital world, like actually get out on the street and just leave stuff. So if somebody walks by and it's just something that catches their eye, just to get them thinking about it. As Wayne Costi said in one of the early free fall videos, we're just trying to get somebody to have a thought and let their conscience work from there. So anyways, Trina, anything for the group? Good to see you. It's been a while. If you're there.
I'm here. I had to find my mute button.
Oh, good.
Thank you for the nice welcome there. Welcome back. I've missed you all. So I just want to say it's great to be back with you all tonight. I want to thank you both for the space and everyone for the information that's shared. And just keep up the good work. You and Sandra, Jean, you and Sandra just complement each other so well. And it's just, I'm always very happy to be here. Thank you, everybody.
Happy to have you.
Thank you. Susan.
Did you miss David Campbell?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'll come back to him after Susan.
Okay.
Sue Serpa. She's finding the mute button too. All right. While she's doing that, David Campbell.
Nothing this week, but thank you and good work all the way around.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sue's back now.
Yeah, I just wanted to parrot what Trina said. Yeah, thank you for having this platform, and check out Boston 9/11 Truth.
Aye, aye. The next one. So you get the next one. The next one being February 5th. Wait, that can't be.
19th.
Kevin Barrett. February 19th, Kevin Barrett, 6:30. Email Sue at SueSerpa, SUESERPA @gmail.com to get an invite. All right. Thanks, Sue. Ross, anything for the group?
Yes, I just want to mention the strangest piece of news I ever read was in the New York Times about 1 month after 9/11. And the article was about how U.S. government had taken away the contract for the refueling jetliners from Boeing. They had taken the contract away from Boeing for the KC-46 refueling 767 with the 747 engines. They had taken it away from Boeing and given the contract to Airbus, a European consortium. That was less than 4 weeks after 9/11. You're going to give your refueling duties, the future refueling aircraft contract, you're going to take it away from an American company and give it to a European consortium. There's something behind that. I could get into it, but I won't. I also want to mention Habib Eghalian. He's an Iranian Nazi industrialist who built the Plasco building. I also want to mention Sebastian País de Almeida, who built the building in Sao Paulo, the Pirtas building. He was also a Nazi industrialist, along with David Rockefeller. And those were the three buildings built in the 60s, the World Trade Center buildings, and those two that are the only ones that have ever not collapsed, the only ones that were ever demolished, or that fires were ever blamed on for their demise. And so there's a lot there. I won't get into it tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Ross. Carl, anything for the group?
Yes, can you pull up one or both images I put in chat of a new friend I made at Costco in Alexandria, Virginia on Friday? It's probably earlier in the chat.
Yeah, I think it's all
I was wearing my USS Liberty ball cap in Costco about 4 p.m. on Friday in Costco, and this guy came up to me in sort of a hushed tone. He said he was like former Intel community and former FBI, and he'd read several books about Liberty. He agreed that, yeah, that was like they had deliberately attacked the Liberty. And so I began to explain, gosh, I just had this guy, Phil Turney, president of their association, come to D.C. for an event, and they learned over the decades that at the highest levels, U.S. authorities were in on it. It was a false flag to justify the U.S. entering the war. There were aircraft in the air with nukes 10 minutes from Cairo, et cetera. And actually, he engaged, literally, we talked for half an hour standing in the aisles at Costco. And you've heard me. I took him all the way back to Benjamin Friedman in World War I, JFK and the nuclear issue with Israel, and the Lebanon affair, all of this. And it's almost like not a word I said surprised him. It's like he almost anticipated all of it, but he was anxiously like trying to shoot down everything I said. So towards the end, I said, "Hey, what's your name?" And started to shake hands. And he said, "Oh, just Joe." And I said, "Well, how about we keep in touch so we can communicate about this?" He said, "No, I'll just see you around Costco." And he raced for the exit as if, I think he actually figured out I was probably going to beat him out of the door so I could get his license plate. But instead, I was in a parallel checkout line, and I got a brief video clip as he was leaving. And I don't know if he's a former or whatever, but he sure seemed to me like, yeah, he looked to me like Michael Chertoff's brother.
Something looks really close, similar. Like, yeah. Anyway,
I mean, if not Chertoff himself, you know. But so sort of interesting. I'm debating whether or not. I mean, there is an element of hostility in this that causes me to feel justified in even having the local police pull his ID so I can get a what do you call it, a restraining order that when I'm next in Costco, he is not to approach me. I don't want him anywhere around me because it seems as if the whole thing was intended to harass and intimidate. But my suspicion is he's actually probably ADL.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to Roy McCoy.
Hi, I came in the middle of, I recognized Anthony Lawson's voice. I'd heard it before, but I was going to check on that. I was in touch with Anthony Lawson like 15 or years or more ago, and to be as polite as possible, I was very negatively impressed by him. So I was kind of surprised to hear something about a tribute to Anthony Lawson, but I wasn't surprised to hear the confirmation that that's who it was. So obviously I came in very, very late, and I'll check out the video, and if I ever to say anything about it, I'll say it next week. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Roy. Did I get everybody in the room?
I think you did.
I think I did. Sandra, anything for the group?
I'm good.
I just want to end. It's about 60 seconds. Tucker basically said why we need to demand these files, the 9/11 files. This is not from any of the 9/11 files episodes, or this was like kind of behind the scenes or before or while he was doing it. And he gets a little belligerent here. He drops some language, but I love it. So here we go.
Very powerful.
Government. You can't look at me and say, you don't have a right to know. F you. Yes, I do. And I think if you had a couple 100 million people making that case and saying, I want to know now, actually, son. Can you hear me? I think our whole posture toward government needs to change. I'm not a supplicant. I'm not here to kiss your ass or ask your permission. I'm your boss. This is my government. You just work here. Give me the documents right now. That's the attitude. And that's the only attitude that produces results. Why are we putting up with this? And I'm sorry if it's embarrassing to some foreign government, or it's embarrassing to John Brennan or Jim Clapper or whomever, some other discredited creep. Tough. I mean, if I get arrested on suspicion of committing a crime, I can't say, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not going to comment, national security reasons. They might embarrass me. I don't want to be implicated in my own wrongdoing. Shut up.
Again, he is talking about the 9/11 files. This was the introduction to the his series on 9/11. A lot of people giving him some crap. Like,
gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Hey, better late than never.
Thank you. Bye.